You are tuned into the Green Hornet Case Files, a beacon of truth in a world shrouded in mystery. Unveiling the legacy and cultural significance of one of the greatest crime fighters of all time. Now, let the adventure begin. Here are your hosts, Kory and Greg.
You know, right before we record,
yes,
there is an air of silence, a bit of tension that builds.
Yes,
right before the violins strike.
You know what that air of tension is?
What is it?
It's me trying to figure out what the next button is that I have to push.
I wasn't going to bring that part up, but...
Welcome to the Green Hornet Case Files, Season 2, episode... Can you believe this is number 10?
Of 2? Holy mackerel.
10 of 2. Yeah.
Well, all right. I'll take it.
All right.
I'll take it.
Hey, listen. There hasn't been an awful lot of news in the world of the Green Hornet lately. I guess I've kind of been the news. I went out to another con. And
actually, was about to ask you about that because I wanted to come along, but unfortunately the cards weren't stacked for me to be able to make it happen. How did it go? You know,
people loved the Green Hornet when you show up. I have to say that my panel that I did was not super well attended. I mean, I had another, half dozen people, but they asked some great questions and, they laughed when they were supposed to and, kind of amazed when I threw out some facts and figures and I didn't know that, kind of thing. So all in all, I thought it was a really, wonderful weekend for the Green Hornet.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
And we've been getting a lot of play on the radio play that we premiered here just 2 weeks ago.
You have done a very astute job of not giving me anything on how that feedback's been going.
Yeah,
so,
actually, it's just life. It's just life getting in the way. Yeah.
So I was sitting here going, oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, geez.
We've had some incredible comments from some people. Now, I have to say that not as many people jumped onto, the radio show as I thought would. I figured we would wind up with, quite a number of hits on the thing. And we are getting a number of hits, but just not what I think what was in my brain was that we were going to have, thousands of people jumping on board. And I went all over the internet trying to find, different Reddit posts and Facebook and Instagram and, all the different socials that you can find, Lone Ranger forums and old time radio forums and, just old guy forums. That kind of thing. And
the general old guy audience.
General old guy. Yeah. I used to do a podcast years ago called The Old Guy Chronicles. And it was about being, an older man. So it's what it was all about there. Just got an email this afternoon that I shared with you just a little while ago from Michael, I believe it's Hockowitz. And just saying congratulations, first off, on the podcast. He loves the podcast, has been listening to it since the beginning. Very impressed with the recreation of episode 81 and is an artist in Pennsylvania and is interested in doing something to help support the making of more shows.
Yeah, this was just, first off, it was a super generous and really creative way to look at things. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, man. So we got to get Michael on the horn at some point.
Yeah. We'll have a conversation with Michael about that. A lot of our regulars have chimed in. We had a nice note from Nate, who goes by Mage Leader. He actually commented several times on several different places. Wanted to congratulate us on the episode. And he says, what you've achieved is nothing short of a triumph. I'll take that, Nate.
Wow.
I will take that.
Okay.
Let's see. Our good buddy and usual commenter Chris Dingsdale says, great episode, outstanding work. Kudos to everybody involved. Loved it. And let's see, who else? I know I have a couple of others here. Ghost Warrior 3878 says, this was good, and I hope you do more of this.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah. We hope we do too.
And keep up the good work. Slaying
Ghost Warrior. Yeah.
478. Yeah. Kill them ghosts.
At
another sidetrack of yours. Ghost busting. Ghost busting,
yeah. At 101419191 says, do more.
Aye, Captain.
That's the comment, and it gets some thumbs up on that.
Do more.
Yeah,
it's way better than being told to do less.
Yes, we haven't received any of those. Somebody else, good work. You guys put a lot of effort into bringing this back to life, and it shows.
Well, all these comments, those are just, thank you all. Thank you all so very much. This really was Greg's labor of love, and he put so much into it. But all of us that were involved, it was so much fun to do, and we'd love to do so much more. Just wonderful that it was well received.
Yes, very much so. Our good friend Green Archer Alan said, I'd love to see more of the radio shows, and happy to put my money where my email is. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
Appreciate that very much. I have not had a conversation with Mary Kay. She and I have exchanged a few emails since then, but she and I have not had a conversation. I was giving it some time to kind of see how the numbers were working on that. And I'm looking forward to maybe later this week of connecting with her and having a conversation about the possibilities. Now, after having had a very long conversation with lawyer David Grace in regards to this, there's a lot of things that would have to happen for us to move forward. And number one is licensing. We would have to be licensed to do this. And we don't know yet at this point, if there is a real market for people. Everybody wants to listen to it, and that's great. You can throw it out on the internet for free, and you can get a lot of people to listen to it. But is anybody willing to pay, like you do with Radio Spirits? I mean, you have to download, an episode. It's like $1 a pop or $2 a pop, whatever the case happens to be.
Yeah.
So there just has to be a market there for it. Is there a market? I don't know. It also would cost us money to make these episodes. You guys did basically all the work on that episode for free. I know we threw a little gift money at everybody for their time, but everybody essentially they didn't come into it with their hands out for a paycheck.
No, yeah, everybody just wanted to do it.
But you can't do that moving forward. I mean, everybody, there are people that will say, oh, yeah, I'm happy to do it just because, but that's not the way these things work.
Yeah, typically, right.
Yeah, typically. So if you haven't listened to it yet, if you haven't had a chance to check out, Green Hornet episode 81, a recreation of I can't remember, November, I believe, a 1936 radio show. Go check it out. It's on our website. It's on the link to the podcast that includes the radio show is on our website, greenhornet66.com, or you can go to YouTube and look up Green Hornet episode 81, and it's a standalone episode out there by itself.
That is, I'm just excited at the prospect, just the chance, even if it doesn't come through, like the chance that we did it. It came out, it was well received, but there are people who are like, oh yeah, I'd love to have some more of that.
Well, yeah, and I actually a couple of the other emails and so forth that I've received that we didn't read here were people asking questions about that kind of thing. You know, guys, where did you come up with these episodes and the scripts? That was one of the things that we had to verify, that these were actual scripts. You know, that this wasn't us going in
Just
and
some
rewriting.
AI generated.
Exactly.
Give me a Green Hornet script.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to go through the process of verifying that these were, you know, actual scripts that have come down, you know, through the ages. And so, you know, there's some hoops that have to be jumped through. There has to be an awful lot of interest, and there has to be a way for somebody to make $1.50 off this thing, including the folks at GHI, Green Hornet Incorporated. You know, they don't just give out licenses just because.
Yeah.
So there is that.
That's where that stands.
That's where that is at. I'm going to check my eBay here while we're sitting here talking. I've been trying.
Check your eBay.
Yeah, I got to check my eBay
recording.
Here. Actually, I just missed out on an item here. I was trying to get a copy of the Green Hornet paperback, the Infernal Light. And it's a fairly rare paperback, but it's a paperback, you know, so you gotta look for it. And a lot of the copies are going for $25, $30, and then it's, you know, $4 or $5 in shipping and so forth.
It's a little steep.
And it gets a little steep. Yeah, for something that's, you know, from 1965, 66, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I had been following one, and I see now that I absolutely blew an opportunity here to get a fairly decent copy for $5.
Oh, no. Smooth move, Gary.
Smooth move, buddy. That's right. Gary is Gary leaving the building. So, if anybody has a copy of the Green Hornet in the Infernal Light and you want to sell it for $5, let me know. Would like to get a copy of that. You know, I'm into the. You know, we've had collector extraordinaire on the show of Green Hornet stuff, and
John
Negron. It just. You know, if it had Bruce Lee or the Green Hornet on it or Kato, you know, I know John owns it. It's in his collection. But I don't have that kind of room in my abode.
Yeah, I was going to say your house isn't that big.
No, I actually live in a fairly small condo here, and it's some of the ephemera stuff that I like. It's the paper goods, the books that I'm real fond of. And I just recently picked up a copy of, it was kind of a hardcover version of, I think it was a Whitman. Was it a Whitman book? And it was called The Case of the Disappearing Doctor. And I did pick that up here, but it was more of a youth kind of oriented book.
Yeah.
Wasn't written.
Which a lot of them were.
Yeah, well, of course.
You know.
So, you
hook them while they're young.
Yeah. Get that Green Hornet going here, right away. So there you go. Checking my eBay on the podcast.
Yeah, that just happened.
Now, I told you that I wanted to pose a question to you on the show, and I haven't told you what the question is in advance.
No, you told me you wanted to be. Normally, I'm at least somewhat prepared for what's happening.
Somewhat prepared, yes.
I came into this episode completely green. I have no clue what we're supposed to be.
Completely green? Okay.
Bong. Right. Yeah. But you had said, like, I don't have, I'm going to tell you, but I'm not going to tell you till we're recording.
I was having a conversation, an email conversation here a couple of weeks back in, now I can't remember whether it was Alan from
Green Archer?
Green Archer. I think it was Alan that asked me this question. And the question was, and I pose this to you, my friend, would you consider the Green Hornet pulp?
You know, yeah, I do. I think
Really?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
To an extent, it's wow. That's kind of that's a tough question, but I think at the core of it, yeah, a little bit. I would say so.
That's interesting.
Say so.
That's really interesting. Now back it up. Why?
Well, I think the stories itself, the character, the world, everything lends itself to pulp.
Mm-hmm.
Would I call it pulp proper? Like, probably not. I mean, it's not Doc Savage, which is in my mind, when you say pulp, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Is Doc Savage, and then the Phantom, and then the Shadow, and those. On top of that, like, I think the Green Hornet would fit in any of those, like 30s and 40s men's magazines,
right?
That had the pulp stories in them. I think the Hornet would fit in. I also think it's above it at the same time, because it's the hero tale is, I think it's above it, but at the same time, it shares roots with it. I know I like to think of things musically a lot, and I would say it's like it's almost like post-punk and punk, pulp and post-pulp. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
And I that's where I would put it, but I would say, like, especially like some of the Moonshot or Moonstone stories,
right,
are very much pulpish. Now, granted, it's more noir at the crux, but I think noir lends itself well to pulp.
I think they're kissing cousins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. It was Alan that from Green Archer that posed this, and he was. This is where it gets really funny. Alan sent me a note. He was at Pulp Fest, and this was a couple of weeks back. And
that's a con I would go to.
Yeah, and they were having a con. There's nobody's doing that I know of pulp fests on the West Coast that I know of.
Yeah.
Please, Green Hornet 66 or podcast at greenhornet66.com if you know of one. Most of these are kind of back east kind of thing, Midwest, back east. He said there is a suspicious lack of Green Hornet merchandise, which was leading him to wonder as he's sitting there, watching people walk past his table, is the Green Hornet pulp? And my question, or my answer to Alan, was my first gut reaction, and I'm reading now. My first gut reaction, Alan, is to say no, not pulp. It was a radio show, radio creation, then movie. Made a minor crossover to books. I know a lot of people would say it was pulp, and certainly it does feel like pulp, but in my humble opinion, it would only be considered that in kind of a backward kind of way.
Backward compatibility?
Yes.
I agree with that. And in the strictest sense of the word, if you're talking is it pulp because of what pulp is? Pulp that is crappy paper and it was cheaply made and that's what was cranked out. Like, I get in that sense of the words, no, it's not. But I think the farther we get away from it, the things that started off also as radio shows that are quintessentially pulp, I think it falls in with that.
That's an interesting thought, because the Shadow was a radio show creation.
Yeah.
The Lone Ranger was a radio show creation. The Phantom was not.
Right.
You know, so I'm really curious about something here. Let's go to the computer and ask ChatGPT.
Oh God.
Do you I gotta be able to type. Do
You knew I wouldn't
consider?
Now
what?
I know why you wanted to spring this on me.
Okay. Do you consider the Green Hornet as pulp? Let's see what. Yes, the Green Hornet can definitely be considered part of the pulp tradition, though he comes a little later than the classic pulp era. There's an interesting thought. What
Yeah.
would you consider the pulp era?
Well, I would say
1910s to 1930s is what ChatGPT says.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I think pulp runs all the way up into the 50s.
Oh, you know it does. And in fact, it's still running. I mean, there are some of these guys that are still, that's what they do, is they crank out pulp.
But I mean the
golden age.
Bronze Age, Silver Age, Golden Age, like we would apply to comics.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's you know, I don't know, it's weird. I have a weird mental connection every time I think of pulp. Sadly, I think of Ed Gein because he was talking.
Okay.
He had an insane pulp collection.
Uh-huh.
And that's what he did when he wasn't, being all weird. A bit of an oddball.
Oddball, yeah.
As the townsfolk referred to him. But I mean, that's when I think of like the pulp men's magazines, the pulp, the Nazi hunter stories and cannibal stories.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. That was that era, that 40s and 50s era of the magazine pulp.
So
is the first thing I think of when I think of pulp, besides Doc Savage, which ran through all of that.
Yeah. So it winds up, ChatGPT winds up saying, so while he's not a pulp magazine character in the strictest sense, he is a pulp hero in spirit, often classified alongside the Shadow, the Spider, and Doc Savage.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, there you go, Alan. There's the answer to your question.
I hate to agree with AI, but I do. I think it shares DNA. Whether it's in the strictest sense of the word, no, but it definitely shares DNA.
I think so, and I can think there's definitely room for it. And let me tell you what, because of the lack of anything else Green Hornet, I am all about Joe and Moonstone books, and anybody that is interested in doing pulp, a story that is going to be, like you said, it's going to be noirish or pulpish. I am all about it. I've read every single one, I think, of the Moonstone books, and all of the others that have come after. I just can't get enough Green Hornet. I am reading, is it Billy Ray Bates? Is that, Billy Ray Bates book on the 1966 Green Hornet. And she does a lot of comparisons of, how does the 66 show compared to the movies? How does it compare to the serials?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a really interesting.
Where's Billy Ray? Where are we talking to her?
We're going to get Billy Ray on the show. I've already reached out to her, and she said absolutely. So
fantastic.
We're ready to go with that. But I thought it was a really interesting question that Alan asked, because in the strictest, I mean, if you were like my granddaughter, used to say, technically, Papa. Technically, it's not pulp.
Well, actually, yeah.
So
that brings me to a question I've been meaning to pose to you.
Okay, here we go.
I'd like to pose it to you.
A little tit for tat. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say that on there?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan of tats.
Okay.
Really big ones. And at that point,
I'd rather hold them in my hand like a comic book.
Precisely. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway.
I know, exactly. Yeah. There we go.
I forgot we had that one loaded. Oh, I love it. Okay, so this is to you and the audience. So
all right.
You don't feel obligated to rapid fire because this could come up for next time. My question is, What is your dream crossover? The Hornet meets blank.
Ooh.
Whose world could do with a little bit of GH in it?
We've done Green Hornet and Batman. Obviously, that was kind of the natural. Now, Miss Fury, we just had the comic run with Miss Fury. I believe, and you guys and gals will have to correct me on this. There have been some crossovers in the comics as well. I believe there was a crossover with the Spirit.
See, that's the one that made me think of it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. If I don't know if it's out there. If it is, I want to see it so bad. But that was the first one that I thought of. But please, podcast greenhornet66.com. Let us know. I want to know what you think. Where does the Hornet fit in with other fandoms?
Okay, I'm going to chew on this just a little bit.
Okay,
this is almost as good a question, maybe a better question than do you consider him pulp or not? Because I have my favorite pulps, and I haven't read a lot of Doc Savage, but I have read some.
Yeah.
The Spider, never much of a craze, of the Spider.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the Phantom.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there isn't room in Central City for a visit from the Phantom.
Yeah.
That's my off the top of my head.
I love it.
Thought.
I love it. I am, it kind of popped into my head, and it was the Spirit that made me think of it. I was like, man, that would be just, some Will Eisner in there would be incredible.
I believe there was also one with the Hornet and the Shadow, if I remember a comic crossover.
And that's a match made in heaven right there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's others out there, but it's just, it's funny because we were talking about, we've talked about the Gray Seal a lot of times being real.
Wouldn't that be a kick?
Wait, I think it would be interesting if they stepped on each other's toes.
Oh boy, you've got my juices going now, my friend.
Right?
I'm gonna have to mop up the desk right here in just a couple of minutes.
It's just that combination, of them like almost getting in each other's way, and maybe even some animosity that becomes a rivalry that becomes a friendly rivalry would be kind of a wild story to tell.
Yeah. Interesting.
But again, podcast at greenhornet66.com.
Yeah. I was just trying to look here real quick at crossovers to see what others, because I know Dynamite has done a number. They did one with the Spider. They did one with Zorro. There was a series called Masks and Masks 2 or Mask Again. The Spirit, the Shadow, Zorro, the Spider, the Ranger, obviously, Batman, and yeah, interesting.
Don't let your imagination run wild. Like anyone would be interesting to me. I'm just curious as to what people come up with.
For some reason, I believe, though, was it one of Moonstone's? I think maybe there has been a Hornet Phantom. maybe that's one I haven't read yet, but
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I think it's an interesting question to me. I'm curious to see what other people think.
Yeah. I'd love to hear what people have. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be kind of awesome for like even just like a Philip Marlowe crossover.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you've seen the one Philip Marlowe with was it James Garner that played Marlowe and Bruce Lee was in it?
What?
Yeah.
How did that slip by me?
Bruce Lee played a bad guy. Bruce Lee played a hired thug that goes into James Garner Marlowe's office. And you remember the scene in, is it Return of the Dragon, where Bruce goes into the office of the bad guy and jumps up and kicks the light fixture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that where I thought? Anyway, yes, I know what scene you're talking about.
Return of the Dragon. I can't remember.
I honestly think it's Enter the Dragon.
No.
Okay,
but we'll check it out. We'll check it out.
Correct us if tell us we're wrong, because I know we are.
Yeah. Same scene.
Yeah.
Same thing as he goes into the bad guys. It's the movie.
Okay.
It's the movie with. It's not Way of the Dragon. What's the one with Chuck Norris? Return of the Dragon?
No, that's Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon? Okay.
Yeah. When he goes to Rome.
Same movie.
Yeah, okay.
Same movie. He goes in and jumps up, straight up, about 20 feet in the air, maybe 30, I don't know, and kicks the light fixture.
Did they just Roger Corman it? Use the same footage?
No.
Okay.
It's completely separate footage, but he goes into Marlowe's office and he proceeds to jump straight up, kicks the light fixture, kicks the leg of a table, a desk, and the desk falls over on, in pieces, and winds up throwing something through, the window, all those kind of, basically destroys the office in like 3 or 4 moves, and, scares crap out of Marlowe.
Yeah.
But then comes back in a later scene, and Bruce actually winds up jumping off of a balcony without meaning to, balcony that's like 20 stories up or something. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's how he winds up, leaving. But there you go. Marlowe. I digress a little bit. Marlowe and the Green Hornet.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. See, I'm into it.
A little more research. I've kind of been, doing the Fugel goo here. And,
I know what you mean.
I don't know that I have not seen this, but it says, okay, I'm just going to read this. Dynamite 2013 did Mars Attacks Green Hornet. And
you just checked all my boxes.
Army of Darkness Green Hornet.
No. Really?
And this one tickles me a lot. Scooby-Doo-Doo.
See, so that's actually one that I was going to ask about.
Yeah.
Because that's one I would put together, especially with the way they did the 66 Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the OG Hanna-Barbera, Scooby. Like that would have been a perfect crossover.
You know where I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to our local comic book store and see if our friend Georgie Porgy can
see what we can find, man.
Connect us.
What I was going to say is there is a episode of Supernatural where a demon of some sort puts a thing on the boys, the Winchester boys, and they end up in an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Right.
And it's one of the best crossovers I've ever seen. I love it so very much.
I love certain crossovers.
And the first time I saw that, I thought, hey, the Hornet would work here.
Really?
Like in that kind of, it's, it's a little jinkies and zoinks and, slapstickier than the Hornet typically is. It's a little more irreverent, if you will, but it's, I think it would work. Probably
definitely some room for that. So,
but not where I was going with the question. I'm just kind of curious as to see where other people would see it.
Yeah. Podcast at greenhornet66.com. Love to have your thoughts on, what kind of a mesh, and it doesn't have to be, pulp. If you like obviously Mars Attacks and Scooby-Doo are not, pulp at this point. If you see something different that you'd like to see, let us know.
Yeah. The Green Hornet meets the Flash or whatever it happens to be. I just want to, what do you think? Interesting
thought process. I've never ever gone down that road before.
Yeah, they're awesome. So, I'm glad to finally contribute.
Yeah. So am I. I was, kept waiting for you to pull your own weight here, buddy.
It's just not happening.
No, I'm just along for the ride,
Right?
And it's the free food.
Wait. Nope, I'm not going to say it. Anyway.
Well, it's all vegan stuff, so it's okay.
Yeah, I know. What? Yeah. I would kill for some vegan chili, though, right now. Your chili kicks ass.
It's probably about time. Probably just about time.
Tis the season.
Green Hornet Case Files, Season 2, Episode 10, kind of an oddball. I just kind of wanted to there's little things that crop up, when you're out and about. I do have to tell you real quick, when I was at the con this last week or so ago, and I've got a good friend that is stuck in a wheelchair, and he is the best guy in the world, is the happiest guy. And, if you're listening to the podcast, you know who I'm talking about. And he runs a comic shop and always has a massive booth. And dropped by to say hi to him. I hadn't seen him in a little while. And I'm wearing, Green Hornet. And we spoke, had a nice conversation, how's things going? How's your other projects? Great. And I said, I'll see you around. I've got to go, say hi to some more people. Then I tootle off. And about 2 minutes later, I'm hearing, Greg. And I turn around and I have no idea who this person is that's, hollering my name, holding 2 comic books. Okay. And he goes, we wanted you to have these. And I'm like, what? And he goes, no, we just went through all of our stuff and we forgot we'd found these 2 Green Hornet comics. And, we want you to have these. Oh. If you don't have them, already. And I looked at them and I didn't. I think they're alternate covers, but I didn't have them. So,
are they Dynamite or now?
Yeah, they're just some of the Dynamites.
Awesome.
A couple of the Dynamites.
Very cool.
And it's like hey, they appreciate the fact that I do the Hornet all the time. So I'm excited.
That's awesome,
about that.
Dude.
It's so nice of those guys.
Heck yeah.
And I can't thank you guys enough for staying there and being there when people to come up and dig through your comics, and just some awesome people. Awesome people.
And if you want to help Greg get more Green Hornet comic books, Ko-Fi, coffee.com/Green Hornet Case Files. I couldn't help it, man. That was the perfect place.
Perfect lead in. And thanks to everybody who has, jumped on board and given us a little love. We do appreciate that very, very much. And again, podcast at greenhornet66.com. Be sure and check out episode 81. Go check it out on either our Green Hornet 66. You'll have to listen to the whole podcast, to listen to the radio show, or you can go check it out. There's a direct link, I think, there to go to the direct link to YouTube.
Just the dramatization itself.
Just the radio show itself. I did a little intro and an outro on it to make sure that we got all the legality bits and pieces, that it was courtesy of our friends at Green Hornet Inc. And again, can't thank them enough for putting a little trust in us so that we put the show out.
Heck yeah.
And with that, that's a 40-minute show right there.
Oh my goodness. That one went quick.
It sure did.
It went real fast. So hopefully you stuck it out and got this far.
I hope so. I can't thank everybody enough for, again, the love and the support for the recreation of episode 81. Grandson and I are headed to another con. We'll be at Rose City coming up in next weekend.
Next weekend,
something. Yeah. So if you
it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. If you happen to see the Green Hornet, more than likely it's me, because I don't know of another one here in the Pacific Northwest.
If he hands you a card, it's him.
I think I'm down to like 3 cards left, so don't call me the Riddler, okay?
I know a guy that works at a print shop, so I'm just saying.
a guy that does.
we can get that taken care of.
All right, ladies and gents, we appreciate you so much. Green Hornet Case Files. I'm Greg.
I'm Kory.
And you know what?
Let's roll.
As the night envelops the city once more, our journey through the hidden alleys of history and valor comes to a close. You've been riding shotgun with the Green Hornet Case Files, where the echoes of the past meet the voices of the present. Tune in again for the next thrilling adventure where shadows speak, secrets unfold, and the legacy of the Green Hornet continues to inspire. The Green Hornet Case Files is a Grail Productions podcast. The Green Hornet is owned exclusively by Green Hornet Inc. Until next time, vigilant listeners, keep your wits sharp and your spirit unbreakable.